Hey, Kyle, it's wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's WWE Raw from July 25, 2022. Live from Madison Square Garden, MSG in New York City, the home arena of WWE, and the very first Raw ever without Vince McMahon in charge. So, Friday, Vince McMahon retired from WWE amongst all the allegations and investigations. Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are now co CEOs of WWE, and this morning, it was announced that Triple H will become the head of creative. This means all the shows going forward will be under Triple H's control, and this is great news. Triple H has proven with NXT Black and Gold that he is the right man for the job. If WWE becomes anything like Black and Gold NXT in the past, I will be very happy. So even though a lot of NXT people are gone from WWE, there still are many NXT graduates on the roster. Whether they have won titles in the past or never even been close, everyone should be getting a fresh start now. Some people, mainly the veterans that were never in NXT, might not like the new changes. Brock Lesnar, for example, but none of that matters. I just want to watch a better Raw and SmackDown every week. I don't think change will. I don't think things will change drastically right away. We might have to wait till after SummerSlam this Saturday to see any changes at all. But some things have been changing. On SmackDown, we've already had Michael Cole calling the people in the crowd fans instead of the WWE Universe, which is a nice step forward. Xavier Woods mentioned the IWGP and ROH tag titles in reference to the Viking Raiders' previous excursions before WWE, something that Vince McMahon never liked to talk about on TV. So we might even get to the point where we might hear the word wrestling on WWE TV again, heaven forbid. And I'm very excited for this Raw to see if we can find any of Triple H's fingerprints on it. It's absolutely wild that the first Raw without Vince in charge is taking place in the home arena of WWE Madison Square Garden. So we're only 5 days away from SummerSlam, and tonight was already planned to be the 20th anniversary in WWE for Rey Mysterio, and it was also announced that the Bloodline will be in a six-man tag match against the Street Profits and Riddle. That will be the main event. Also already planned for tonight's Raw was the Logan Paul segment. Logan Paul having his own talk show heading into his match against The Miz at SummerSlam. So Triple H got empowered just in time to prevent Ciampa from potentially getting beat up by Logan Paul, maybe even tonight. So thank goodness Triple H got here just in time, because that's where it looked like Vince was heading with this story. It looked like Ciampa was about to get beat up by Logan Paul. So let's get into the show. We could talk about Vince and the new power struggles, and it looks like a lot of power vacuum has happened. People might come and go as we go here. People might come back that were excommunicated. People would leave, like maybe a Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn, the longtime 30-year plus director of WWE. They're all Vince McMahon guys. They don't really get along with Stephanie and Triple H. But if you can't quite get rid of everyone at once, because that'll cause people in the stock market to go. So you can't just fire everyone from the Vince McMahon regime all at once. You can't change everything all at once. So I pretty much knew that coming into tonight's show. And yeah, just usually I do spoiler free like run throughs throughout these reviews, but just a little bit of a spoiler. It's mostly the same stuff we always see on Raw tonight. Now, like I said, most of this was already set up because we got SummerSlam in 5 days. Most of the stories are already like written, and even though Raw wasn't scripted out yet, they like everything was still leading for 5 days from now. So um maybe after SummerSlam, we'll see a little bit more, maybe like people we haven't quite been seeing on TV for a while getting a spot and stuff like that. Maybe we'll actually see a Ciampa entrance in a match like that, and that'll tell us Triple H is in charge. So we start the very first ever Raw without Vince McMahon in charge with the Miz and Logan Paul are brawling in the ring already. Okay, I like this. This is a cool start to Raw here. This is already feeling a little bit different. We've got Logan Paul and the Miz just trading blows in the ring as soon as we start Raw. Officials, after about a minute, come and break them apart. So, wow, pretty good way to start Raw here. Once the officials get Miz and Logan Paul to the back, we go from that unscheduled opening to the actual scheduled opening, which is Roman Reigns, and his music hits. Roman Reigns, Usos, and the Paul Heyman the Bloodline come down to the ring. So I wonder if Roman will mention Brock leaving SmackDown just to come back. But he does not. Roman does not bring up Brock Lesnar leaving SmackDown. So they take forever to get to the ring. And good thing we started Raw with this brawl. And that's probably exactly why they had the brawl to start Raw, because the Bloodline takes about 6 or 7 minutes to finally do anything. You know what I'm saying? So we have seen this on SmackDown when Vince was in charge. They just had the Roman Reigns and the Bloodline come out, and like the first 10 minutes of SmackDown, nothing happened, and then it went to a break. At least we started Raw with a brawl. We started with a bang, and that lasted for a minute or two, and then about 5 minutes of entrance here. So pretty cool that they did that instead of just the Roman Reigns entrance, which is a flat opening to Raw, if you ask me. So Roman gets on the mic and says, "Acknowledge me," and then tells Heyman he doesn't want to talk anymore. So Paul Heyman has mic problems, and he says, "Well, the sound guy must be from Jersey." So this is the hometown for Heyman. He's getting a lot of cheers here. Heyman tells the sound guy he could be the next to walk out the door, in reference to Vince McMahon. We get a lot of references to Vince McMahon here, but not by name. So Heyman then tells us to watch SummerSlam in classic Heyman fashion. He says Brock ruined the party for the greatest UFC heavyweight champion, Randy Couture. He ruined the party for the Undertaker streak. And now Roman goes in the SummerSlam at day number 697, and Brock wants to ruin the party. So holy crap, Heyman even mentions Macho Man Randy Savage. So Vince must really be gone, because I'm pretty sure we have not mentioned Macho Man Randy Savage on television in a long time. Vince McMahon is just not a big Macho Man fan. I don't want to get into that, but anyway, the context of bringing Macho Man up was Paul Heyman talking about famous sports rivalries, and Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan was one of those. It was like Red Sox and Yankees and stuff like that. So anyway, this was brought up because Roman is tired of being tied to Brock as a rival, and Roman can't even stand to hear Brock Lesnar's name anymore. So Theory comes out at this point, and he says that he'll walk away with 3 titles at SummerSlam. Same thing Theory's been saying, nothing new there. Roman wants Theory to get in the ring now, and Theory actually does get in the ring, even though it's 3-1 odds here. Roman laughs and says, "Theory's nervous. It's his first time. Don't be worried." So Roman says, "Look around. Your daddy's not here anymore." So the crowd then chants "Daddy's boy," and then they switch it to "Who's your daddy?" So a reference to Vince McMahon being the, well, I'm not going to say daddy, but the mentor for Theory. That's pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. So Roman then says, "If Theory keeps messing up, I'll be his daddy. I run the Garden now." Also a reference to Vince McMahon not being here in the Garden. So they go to leave, but Theory hits Jay kind of lightly in the back with the briefcase. Not very hard, not hard enough to take him down or anything. The Bloodline turns and stares at Theory, but then just leaves. So why wouldn't the Bloodline just absolutely destroy Theory right here? I didn't quite get that, but it makes sense a little bit later on. So I was like, what's the point in letting him live to see another day? But we kind of get that answer later. We go to an ad break at this point, and when we come back, Theory gets introduced, so he never left. He's still in the ring, so that's a little bit different. And holy crap, speaking of different, before Theory can say a word, Drew McIntyre's music hits. I did not expect to see Drew here. He comes out with a sword ready to fight, and it's going to be a match, Theory versus Drew McIntyre. So as soon as the bell rings, Drew charges in and takes control of the match. Drew rips Theory's t-shirt off and uses it to attack Theory. Drew hits a big vertical suplex, and Theory hits a few chops, but they only serve to fire up Drew even more. Theory then gets tossed halfway across the ring with a huge heel from McIntyre. Theory gets up, hits a couple punches, but Drew counters with a lariat, and Drew hits the Future Shock DDT. Absolutely demolition here by Drew McIntyre at the beginning of this match. Drew's lining up for the Claymore already, but Theory rolls out of the ring. Drew goes to follow him out there and slams Theory into the barricade, and then the announce table as we go to an ad break. So absolute demolition here by Drew McIntyre at the start. So this match is interesting. Right as Roman talked about Daddy's boy in reference to Vince McMahon, we get Drew McIntyre, who was Vince's original chosen one. Drew had the exact same gimmick as Theory at the start of Drew's career. So maybe this is a glimpse of what Theory could turn into in 10, 15 years. A grizzled veteran who's learned from his past mistakes like Drew McIntyre has. So maybe a little glimpse into Theory's future. When we come back from break, Theory has turned the match around now. Theory's throwing Drew into like the barricade and the steps. Drew looks hurt here. I wonder what happened in the break. The crowd's chanting, "Who's your daddy?" And Drew counters a suplex back in the ring into a vertical suplex of his own. And I'm wondering, where's Lashley? He wasn't on last week, and his match is against Theory Saturday. Meanwhile, Theory's been feuding with like 10 people, but none of them have been Bobby Lashley lately. So Drew looks for the Claymore again, but the Brawling Brutes run out of nowhere. So Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland then attack Drew McIntyre, causing this match to be a disqualification. I think that means we didn't get an official word, but I think Drew McIntyre wins this match one-on-one against Theory with a disqualification. Bobby Lashley then right on cue comes out the really big cheers from the New York crowd here, and the combined force of Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley is able to take out all four men. Theory tries a sneak attack right after that with the briefcase, but gets caught and just runs away. But before Theory's running away here so he doesn't sustain any more damage as we go to an ad break. So Theory just needs to make it to SummerSlam in one piece. Then he will have a chance to legitimately walk out of SummerSlam with 3 singles titles, something I don't think anybody's ever done, won 3 singles titles on a single night. So I also thinking maybe the brand split will end soon. It was maybe it's just because it's a special Madison Square Garden Raw before SummerSlam, because we've seen 7 SmackDown wrestlers tonight so far and only 2 Raw wrestlers. So that makes, I'm not quite sure. It could just because it was a special episode, but it might give us a glimpse that maybe the brand split will end. So anyway, when we come from back from the break, it's a tag team match player, because we're told Adam Pearce made this a tag team match during the break. So 2 different commercial breaks where we thought Theory wasn't going to be there when we come back, and then Theory's there when we come back. So it's a tag team match player, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley versus the Theory and Sheamus. And poor Theory could not get out of Raw without taking more damage. Theory's had more matches than anyone this last month, since Theory's been showing up on Raw and SmackDown every week and almost having a match on each one of those. So Theory's in trouble already, but he's able to tag out the Sheamus. Sheamus takes control, hits an Irish Curse backbreaker on Drew. Sheamus and Drew have a #1 contenders match this Friday on SmackDown. It's a Donnybrook match where shillelaghs are legal, but swords are not, which is funny. The winner of that match will get a WWE Universal title shot at Clash of the Castle, the first ever European, not ever, but the first European pay-per-view in about 3 decades. So big match there on SmackDown for 2 European guys wanting the European main event. Sheamus stays in control here and fakes tagging in Theory. So Sheamus even playing around with his own partner here. Nobody in the world likes Theory. Theory desperately needs to find an ally in this world. So the crowd chants, "We want Bobby," and Drew hits the Glasgow Kiss headbutt and then is able to tag in Bobby. So Lashley comes in, hits a vertical suplex on Sheamus. Then Theory runs in and Lashley hits him with a flatliner, the counter, the charge. Sheamus and Theory then are both outside the ring. Lashley is looking to tackle Theory right through the barricade like he likes to do with the big spear. But in one of the best moves of the night, Sheamus intercepts the spear with a bro kick out of nowhere. That was awesome. It kind of looked like it was more knee that connected than anything, but I think Sheamus was going for the bro kick there, and that was a really cool interception. So Butch now gets in the ring, and he's trying to fight Drew, who's just chilling on the apron. The referee's dealing with Butch, while Ridge now attacks Drew from behind. Drew just immediately hits a Glasgow Kiss headbutt on Ridge, then overhead suplexes Butch right on the Ridge. That was awesome as well. Great stuff in this match. We go to an ad break now as the referee's kicking Butch and Ridge out from ringside. When we come back, Theory again is in control. He has Lashley in a headlock. So that's 2 commercial breaks where we come back and Theory just mysteriously is in control somehow. Lashley fights out of the headlock eventually, but Theory tags in Sheamus before Lashley can tag out. So Drew gets punched off the apron by Sheamus, but Lashley's back up and hits a big spine buster on Sheamus. Drew's now able to tag in. So does Theory. Drew hits 2 overhead suplexes and is in complete control. Theory counters a future shock DDT, however, but Drew counters right back with a sky high. Lashley then hits a spine buster on Theory, makes the pin, but Sheamus comes off the top rope with a great looking nasty knee drop right to the back of Lashley's head. A lot of really, really good stuff in this match. So now out of nowhere, Dolph Ziggler is just chilling on the commentator's desk. on the commentators table. And this distracts Theory, who was about to hit an 8-count down. Theory sees Dolph and just stops what he's doing. This allows Lashley to get out of the 8-count down and apply the hurt lock. Theory just taps out right away so he doesn't take any more damage. His grand plans are to win the 3 titles at SummerSlam, not win this match. So your winners of the match by submission are Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Good tag team right there. So that's 3 weeks in a row that Dolph Ziggler has cost Theory a win. Theory's night isn't even over yet because Theory turns on the entrance ramp and right into a double Uso super kick. So I guess the Bloodline did not attack Theory earlier because they wanted Theory to take more damage in his match first, which turned out to be 2 matches. So Roman's talking trash now to Theory, who's in rough shape, and Theory desperately needs an ally, especially with Vince McMahon now being gone. That was his only ally. So maybe it will turn out to be Dolph Ziggler in a swerve, because Theory is like desperate for any allies right now. He's got about 15 different guys that want to take him out. But like I said, Theory will have a chance for 3 titles to walk out of SummerSlam with 3 titles if he plays his cards right. So I'm thinking maybe Dolph will join Theory. I don't, because I'm so weird, this whole thing with Dolph. It came out of nowhere, and now 3 weeks in a row, he just kind of cost Theory matches without even like talking to Theory or interacting. Usually you would have like a promo where you talk about the guy. We get a little bit later on backstage, but really it's still kind of up in the air. So anyway, after that, we get a really good Rey Mysterio video package for his entire WWE career. It's got Metallica music, but also with Spanish rap over it. It was pretty cool. So definitely go find this if you did not watch this. I'm sure it's on YouTube by now. Rey Mysterio is an absolute legend. His career started long before his 20-year WWE run, and he was already a legend before that 20-year span. So winning then coming here, winning the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE title is definitely an inspiration, and has been an inspiration for all kinds of the smaller wrestlers, not just luchadors, but all smaller wrestlers throughout the world. So we also see Dominik in that video, and I'm wondering, will Dominik turn on his father tonight during his celebration? So we see earlier today, Rey and Dominik are showing up in style. They're bumping some beats. They've got a cool car. They've got some suits on, or at least Rey did. I think Dom was just in his normal stuff. But Rey's wife and daughter Aaliyah are also here. Good thing Murphy's gone to AEW now that Aaliyah's here, so Murphy's not here to bother her. But we go to an ad break right after that because that was from earlier in the week. Day. And then when we come back, we see that same Edge return video from last week, and we do not get any more vignettes other than that one we saw last week. So we then see Dolph Ziggler. He's walking in the back, and Kevin Patrick, the interviewer, asks Dolph like why he's been doing this with Theory. Dolph says, I needed to teach Theory a lesson. I've seen 1,000 theories come and go, and before Dolph can really explain why, AJ Styles walks up. And then before AJ can really say anything, Chad Gable says, shush. And then Chad Gable says, you two are just jealous that Theory's done more at his age than you guys did at that age. So this sets up a tag team match later. It will be Alpha Academy versus Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles. So that's pretty interesting. Never expected to see a Dolph Ziggler AJ Styles team, but we will get to see that later tonight. So it is time for the Mysterios. It's Rey Mysterio's celebration, and also Mysterios versus the Judgment Day as well. 2 for 1 here. And the Mysterios come out first. The big cheers from the Madison Square Garden crowd. So I'm wondering, will Edge return here? Will Rhea Ripley return? Will Dominik attack his father? A lot of questions going into this segment. So let's just see what happens. We see the entire Mysterio family in the back watching TV, brothers, uncles, and not just the wife and daughter there. So the whole Mysterio family is in the back watching on TV. The crowd chants, thank you, Rey. And then Rey has his, I don't know what you want to call it, acceptance speech for his celebration here. So Rey Mysterio says, 20 years, this is special. When I was 14 years old, I had my first match in Tijuana. I would have never imagined I would wrestle in WWE one day and wrestle all over the world, make money, and have memorable rivalries that will stand the test of time. I broke down barriers for smaller guys and showed that we can hang with the big dogs. With everyone's support, I won the world title. I want to thank a lot of people, but just a few names: Dean Malenko, Conan, Batista, Kurt Angle, Edge, and of course the great Eddie Guerrero. So the crowd has a huge Eddie chant here, and Rey says, "I love you, Eddie. I miss you every damn day. I wouldn't be here without you, and I know you're always watching over me. Tonight, I stand before you truly humbled from all the support for 20 years." And the crowd chants, "Thank you, Rey." So Rey says, "This is special, but to do it with my family here, it means so much more." So the crowd chants, "You deserve it." Now Angie and Aaliyah, Angie's his wife, Aaliyah's his daughter, comes out. Or no, he says, "Thank you for always being there. I love you both. Dom, I'm proud of you I'm proud of you, son. Proud of the man you've become. I know that when I'm no longer here, you will represent the Mysterio legacy well. So thank you. I believe I saved the best for last. I want to thank all of you here tonight. I could have been any place in the world, but I'm here tonight in the legendary Madison Square Garden. Thank you. I love you all. Gracias." Then Rey shouts out his Latino fans in Spanish, ending with "Viva la Raza." So thank you very much. It means the world to me. And then we see Finn Balor is clapping in the crowd, making his way to the ring. And Finn says, "Congratulations," as Damian Priest also appears. So after the break, that tag match that's what we'll see. So great promo from Rey here. Glad he was able to celebrate his 20 years here in the crowd, especially in the famous arena here. His knees seem to be the best shape they've been in about 10 years. All that stem cell treatments have definitely done Rey Mysterio well. Rey's matches the last 2 weeks on Raw have been some of the best matches on Raw. It was just unfortunate that they weren't very long, but maybe we'll get a little bit longer match here tonight since it is Rey's celebration night. Let's see what happens with that whole story, too. When we come back from the ad break, the match has already started. Finn's hitting chops on Dom in the corner in complete control, which is kind of funny. That's the first thing we would see in this match. So Finn's talking trash to Rey while this happens. Dom's able to tag out the Rey. Rey comes in and knocks Priest off the apron first, then hits a nasty, great looking head scissors to Finn. That was an awesome head scissors right there. Dom then tags in and power bombs Rey into Finn, who was laying on the ground, and then Dom tags in Rey, who hits some corner punches, then shakes the shoulders like Eddie, but this allows Finn to counter the next move and tag in Priest. Priest comes in with a big punch and talks trash to the crowd, then wears down Rey across the ropes. Priest hits a corner back elbow, then tosses Rey to the mat. This only gets a 1 count. Rey's fired up tonight. So Priest applies an arm bar as the crowd rallies behind Mysterio here, and Finn tags in and stomps on that same arm. Then Finn hits an elbow and applies a chin lock. The crowd rallies even louder, again for Rey to fight back. Rey counters the next move and tags in Dominik. Dom then hits a crossbody off the top rope when he comes in and hits a nice-looking Mexican arm drag. Priest then tags in, and Dom dives to the outside on the Priest. But Priest catches Dom and throws him right into the barricade hard. That looks pretty cool. So when we go to an ad break on that, and as we're in ad break, I'm still thinking about that Rey Mysterio's head scissors from earlier. It was so crisp, had a really nice snap to it. Great stuff. So hopefully we get some more Rey Mysterio showcase moves when we come back. And then when we do come back, Rey tags in, hits a big springboard crossbody on Priest. Then Rey counters some kicks and hits a seated senton for a 2 count. Priest counters a charging Rey with a super kick, and that looked nasty. Caught all of it on that super kick. Rey counters the next move, however, with I think it was a powerbomb attempt with a Hurricane Rana, but a blind tag by Finn Balor is able to intercept Rey Mysterio's 619 attempt, then with a big like lariat or something. But Finn then goes up to the top rope, hits coup de grace, and then Dom has to come in and break up the pin. Really good match action here. So Priest then gets rid of Dominik and hands a chair to Finn. Finn throws the chair to Rey and tries to do the Eddie Guerrero spot, but Dominik still has the referee distracted, so Rey just hits Finn with the chair. Double 619 by the Mysterios to Finn, and then a frog splash off the top rope by Rey Mysterio to Finn for the 1-2-3. The winners of the match are the Mysterios. Nobody showed up. Nobody turned. That's weird. I thought for sure either Edge or Rhea would appear or Dominik would turn, maybe even all 3 or 2 of them. But I guess this is not the last we'll see of these guys tonight. So pretty good match here. Great action. Every time Rey's in there, this last whole month, every time Rey's in the ring, it's some great stuff. Some of the best stuff on Raw. I wish we would get to see Rey a little bit more. Like we always have a pretty big commercial break that's been breaking up all these Rey Mysterio matches. And I just kind of want to see Rey a little bit more. Maybe we'll get to see that. There is a match announced for SummerSlam with Rey Mysterio in it, so maybe we'll get to see that on SummerSlam. Then we move on and we see Cody Rhodes winning an ESPY award for the best WWE moment. I think the moment was actually for his WrestleMania return, but it should be for his Hell in the Cell performance, unless that was too late for the voting. But I'm glad that he won it, because that Hell in the Cell performance was definitely the WWE moment of the year so far, in my opinion. Gutting out that pain to wrestle a full match and have the match be good, that's crazy. So Bianca is in the back looking amazing, and she's in a good mood and walking with purpose to the ring as we go to an ad break. So pretty interesting. When we come back here, Rey Mysterio and Dom are in the locker room with their family. They're all celebrating and shooting champagne everywhere. Rey takes a shot at tequila, and then Aaliyah gives Rey a gift, and it's the iconic gear that Rey wore against Eddie Guerrero at WCW Halloween Havoc, the whole purple bodysuit. Really cool to see that here. And Rey's loving it. But then all of a sudden, Rhea Ripley makes her return, and she shows up to this locker room with all the Mysterio family. Aaliyah tells Rhea to leave, so Rhea just shoves Aaliyah and then grabs Dominik hard by the head, leading him out of the room. Rey, of course, follows Rhea out there, but Finn and Priest are there to attack Rey. They end up power bombing Rey through the table, and Finn is saying, "It's not your anniversary, it's my birthday." Pretty funny line there by Finn. It is his birthday. Happy birthday. But Rey's family is completely distraught, and we just move on like it never happened, which is pretty funny. But that's still not the last we see of them. So I was intrigued on what we might see next, and we do get to see another segment. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, Bianca, remember, she was on her way out to the ring before that happened. She's in a super good mood, all fired up. And the announcers have been acting like Bianca's been waiting for a whole year now to avenge her 22nd loss to Becky at last year's SummerSlam. But hello, Bianca already avenged that loss by winning the title back from Becky at WrestleMania. So I get that it's like SummerSlam and it's exactly a year later, but I still don't, I'm not really getting into that aspect of it. But before Bianca can even say anything here, Becky Lynch interrupts. But before Becky can even talk, Bianca cuts her off, making fun of the train promo from last week, which was pretty funny. Then Bianca says her EST lines, but then interrupts Becky again. And this makes Becky mad enough to attack Bianca. Bianca starts fighting back, and a huge brawl breaks out here. So by the way, Becky is in like a white space outfit. I don't know what to call it, but it's a wild outfit. And Bianca tries to hit a kiss of death, KOD, but Becky escapes, then pulls Bianca over the rope by her hair braid. That looked devastating. They then brawl over the announce table. Becky's butt is hanging all out tonight. And then officials eventually arrive to break up the fight as the crowd's chanting, "Let them fight." So I'm really hoping that their match at SummerSlam is not 25 seconds long. The story kind of seems like they want Bianca to win super quick, just like Becky did last year. But I would be so disappointed if that happened, because probably one of the top two matches I'm looking forward to the most at SummerSlam is Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. And if it only lasts 25 seconds, I get what they're trying to tell with the story of having Bianca avenge the quick loss with another quick loss at the next SummerSlam. But I would be so disappointed because I just want to watch them have a good match. So I hope that's not what we get. But anyway, let's just move on. This was kind of weird, but interesting at the same time. We see a recap from last week. It was, 2 weeks ago, and it was when Alexa Bliss teamed with Asuka and she pinned Nikki ASH with Doudrop was her partner. So Alexa will face Doudrop tonight. And now in the back with the interviewer, Alexa says, "Doudrop and Nikki make fun of me for having no friends, but why are they even friends? Anyway, I have Lily, and Lily's number one on WWE Shop." And then Alexa's tone changes to a serious tone that we have not heard from Alexa in a while. And Alexa says, "Now let me tell you why I'm number one. Becky, Bianca, you all need to watch out." So pretty cool here. Alexa makes her entrance as we go to an ad break. And wow, it seems like Alexa's finally getting some kind of character development or story after she's done absolutely nothing since her return. She did mention to Asuka last week she wanted gold, but now Alexa changing her tone there, that definitely means something is probably going to happen. So And also, while we're at it, can we finally finish the Dewdrop and Nikki story? We left off with Dewdrop telling Nikki to take things more serious, and it looked like Nikki was going to ditch the superhero gimmick, but then they just dropped the whole story, and then nothing, no character development from that point on. So the two of them have both spun their wheels alongside Alexa, and hopefully we don't see the 24/7 title make an appearance, and we do not. So when we come back from break, Alexa Bliss's music is still playing, which is funny because we just go to the back now and we see Rey Mysterio getting out of stretcher, and then the Judgment Day appears again, and Rhea Ripley kicks Rey Mysterio right in the face. That was hilarious, and I was hoping that wasn't the last time we'd see the Judgment Day, but it was. So seems like something Vince wouldn't do, having multiple backstage segments with the same people. I mean, I'm sure he's done it in the past, but that seems like a little bit different of stuff we've seen on Raw, having a bunch of backstage segments with the same people. So anyway, we go back to the ring, and now Dewdrop comes out and the match starts. And yeah, we are getting some character development with Alexa, because for the first time since she's returned, someone else has now finally grabbed Lily. Nikki ASH has grabbed Lily right at the start here to distract Alexa. We don't get anything else with Lily in this match, but it's finally someone else has grabbed Lily. So anyway, Dewdrop takes control off of this with some big strikes, like a vertical suplex. And we've already established that if Alexa has Lily with her, she's nice, boring Alexa. But if Lily's gone and not by her side, then Alexa is evil. So that's why it's like finally someone else is grabbing Lily, because the whole story here is that she needs to go have Lily go missing, and then she'll turn evil, and then probably look for Lily, or just say, I never wanted Lily to begin with, and stay evil. We don't know what the story is going to be, but for months now, there's been zero story, zero character development. So Dewdrop has a hold applied now. Alexa strikes her way out, but Dewdrop hits a nice clothesline for a 2 count. The crowd is absolutely silent for all of this, which is unfortunate. Anyway, Alexa dodges a corner attack, but Dewdrop hits a strike to keep control. Dewdrop charges in, but Alexa hits a drop toe hold to make Alexa take down Dewdrop. Alexa now takes control, hits a drop kick, evades another charge from Dewdrop, and then Alexa goes up to the top rope for a twisted bliss. But Nikki, I think, knocked her off, but maybe just distract her. Anyway, Alexa was kind of off balance, didn't get the move off, and Dewdrop looks to end it now, but Alexa counters. I think it was a powerbomb attempt into a DDT. Good little counter there, but that gets the 1, 2, 3. Your winner by pinfall is Alexa Bliss. And Alexa just leaves right away, signing a Lily doll for a fan in the crowd. So maybe a hint at finally some character development. We finally had someone touch Lily. It's just kind of like Alexa really needs to, I don't know. So, but before I talk about that, in the back, AJ Styles tells Logan Paul that he loves what he's doing with the Miz. I don't know if I know you enough to like you, but I like the Miz even less. So shut him up at SummerSlam for us. And then after the break, it'll be Logan Paul's talk show. But going back to the Alexa, Alexa still really hasn't added any moves to her limited move set, and Alexa is not very good wrestler. So, but what she is good at, character work. And currently, Alexa has no character. So hopefully tonight was the start of that, of changing that, because Alexa with no character and no move set is kind of useless in my opinion. At least you can excuse her bad wrestling when she good character, but they've given her this boring, no development character for this last 2 or 3 months even. So hopefully we can at least get some kind of character for Alexa. Otherwise, I don't even want to see her on TV if she's going to be no character Alexa, because she's not a good wrestler. And only okay at promos. She's good at like being a character. The promos aren't even that good either. But she is valuable for being a character, because there's a lot of people on the roster that aren't good at being a character. Anyway, when we come back from break, we get a recap of that brawl from the beginning of Raw. It was Miz versus Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul comes out. He's going to host his own talk show, Impulsive TV. So the crowd boos heavily throughout this whole segment. They don't want to see Logan Paul. Neither do I. Logan Paul says, we are at Madison Square Garden. My brother will be fighting here next weekend. Impulsive TV is just like Miz TV, except people actually watch it. So Logan talks about Miz's balls. Then Maurice comes out. She's looking fantastic tonight. And then she plugs Miz and Mrs. after Raw and says, don't ever talk about my kids again. She's holding 2 disco balls and terribly acts like she can't say the word genitalia, which I'm sure she can, but the acting of her not being able to say it was terrible. Then she gives a bunch of ball facts, and Logan Paul says, who measures their testicles? The Miz now comes out and says, I do. So what the heck am I even watching, man? So Miz says he measures his balls, and so does every man in this arena. But this isn't about that. This is about SummerSlam. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have anything in WWE. You owe me everything. So at SummerSlam, you're getting your big moment. And then Logan Paul talks about balls. Maurice slaps Logan. He talks about balls again. And then Ciampa comes from behind and attacks Logan Paul. Miz tries to help. Logan then goes after Miz. And then Ciampa from behind takes control and they beat up Logan Paul. So Ciampa holds on to Paul while Miz hits skull crushing finale. And the crowd chants one more time. But the Miz doesn't do it. And this terrible segment mercifully ends. So wow, was that terrible? 2 straight months of every single week on Raw talking about balls. It wasn't really funny on week 1, and it's terrible by week 8 when they have to mention balls at least 25 times in a 5-minute segment. So just terrible stuff there. Does not make me want to watch Miz versus Logan Paul anymore by talking about balls a lot. So anyway, in the back, Kevin Patrick is with the Street Profits and the Usos, and then the special referee at SummerSlam for their match, Jeff Jarrett, is also there. So Montez says tonight we'll give the Usos a preview of SummerSlam, and Jay says we'll body you just like we did at Money in the Bank. So Jeff tells them both to shut up, and Jeff says if anyone gets out of line tonight, I'll remember it for SummerSlam. And I thought maybe Jeff was going to be the referee in tonight's 6-man tag main event, but no, he's not. He's just wearing a referee shirt here for no reason. So now AJ Styles makes his entrance, and thank God he didn't have to come help Logan Paul in that last dreadful segment. So Dolph Ziggler then makes his entrance before AJ can even get off the entrance ramp. Seemed like AJ was a little mad about that, but after the break, it will be AJ and Dolph versus Alpha Academy. So when we come back, we hear Alpha Academy's music while some narrator voice tells us not to vape. And then we go back in the ring and Dolph Ziggler's music playing. And then American Alpha music starts playing again. So that was weird. Anyway, Chad cuts the music off right away, shush, and says, New York, you don't boo a man that went to the Olympics. And Chad makes fun of New York for like at least a minute straight. Kind of boring stuff. So Chad and Dolph will start this match with some grappling, both of them being amateur style wrestlers in the past. Dolph then takes control with a drop kick, tags in AJ, who hits a nice drop kick of his own, way better than Dolph's, by the way. So AJ slingshots to the outside on the Chad, who had bailed the ring, and we go to an ad break. When we come back, Alpha Academy are double teaming AJ now. And during the break, we see that Otis tackled AJ hard. So AJ has gotten also sent into the announce table. Now back to live action. AJ evades Otis twice and is able to tag in Dolph. But Otis hits a huge spinning back fist that looked nasty. Right, and that was on Dolph. So Otis takes control, tags in Chad, and he hits a rolling chaos German suplexes. This one was a lot better than last week, so that means Dolph was better. I can't even remember who Chad hit it to last time, but it wasn't very good. AJ's still down on the outside from those attacks from Otis earlier. Chad then goes up to the top rope, but Dolph evades the moonsault attempt. Chad tries to land on his feet, a little iffy on the landing, but Dolph hits a super kick right after that. Otis has to break up the pin, and now AJ's back, and he helps Dolph take out Otis. Then Dolph hits a zigzag on Chad Gable for the 1-2-3. Winners of this match by pinfall are Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles. It was a decent match, but definitely hurt by the length of it. Pretty short match. What we got to see was good, but it was really nothing special overall because of the fact that we didn't get to see I need to be able to get into a match. 8, 9, 10-minute matches is what I need for to get into it. Otherwise, it's just like by the time you're starting to get into it, it's just over, and then it's like, well, I never actually got into it. So anyway, that's the same can be said about the entire show so far. Decent, but nothing special. Nothing special here. But like I said at the very beginning of the show or the review, it's not like everything's going to change in an instant if Triple H is indeed in charge. But like I said, it also could just be Vince McMahon running the show from his home on the phone. But if Triple H is in charge, everything isn't going to change in one day. Everything is going to change in a month. Let's check in around take stock by around Royal Rumble. If things are still like the way they were, then yeah, Vince McMahon's still in charge. But if we get to around the Royal Rumble time and we see definite changes throughout that time period, then we can believe that Triple H is in charge. But if we get the Royal Rumble and nothing's changed in that amount of time, then we can start to worry. But in the meantime, it's too early to worry about anything. It's especially with SummerSlam only 5 days away. Like, we were never going to get drastic changes tonight. Now we might be able to start seeing drastic changes on next Monday night's Raw, but even then, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more the same old, same old. Maybe we'll get to see a couple guys that weren't getting featured, getting a little bit more featured under Triple H and stuff like that. But I wouldn't expect drastic changes quite yet. Just give it time. I know we say that a lot with WWE, but we actually can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel now that the regime has changed, or at least they've told us it's changed. Like I said, if we get the Royal Rumble and nothing's changed, then Vince probably just in charge still. So on the phone at his house. Anyway, no time for anything else, I guess, because Roman Reigns music hits and oh wait, no. I think I wrote something else down. No, it wasn't important. So I don't even really care about this main event match at all. But I did notice that we haven't not only have we not seen Riddle all night, but we haven't seen Seth Rollins at night. So all night. So we're pretty much guaranteed that Rollins is going to show up at some point either during or after this match. So we're going to go to a commercial break before the next team comes out. The Bloodline just made their entrance. So maybe we'll get something else in the back before the match starts. But nope. When we come back from the break, the Street Profits come out, and then quickly Riddle does, and no other backstage segments tonight. So I do expect still that we'll see Rollins at some point. Rollins versus Riddle at SummerSlam might be the match of the night, especially if Bianca versus Becky turns into being only a 30-second, 25-second match, which I'm hoping and praying it doesn't, because I'm really looking forward to Bianca versus Becky. But the other match I'm super looking forward to is Rollins versus Riddle. So big cheers here for Riddle and New York Knicks gear on the Street Profits tonight. I like how they have different gear for what city they're in. So Riddle's remixed music isn't quite as good as his old music, I noted. So Angelo, Dawkins, and Jimmy Uso are going to start the match. Again, it's a 6-man tag, and Jeff Jarrett was kind of teased as maybe being the referee for this match, but he is not. Just a regular referee in this one. Montez takes control, and then Dawkins takes control and tags in Montez, and they hit a double team. Then Jay tags in, the Usos double team Montez to take control. Roman hits a cheap shot from the apron, and we get an Usos chant from the crowd, even though mostly the Bloodline were getting booed tonight. So Montez evades the next attack and hits a drop kick and tells Rollins to acknowledge me. Montez said that to Roman. That was kind of funny, just like when he was telling suckets to the Usos at Money in the Bank. So Riddle then tags in, hits multiple kicks in a row on Jay, and Jimmy tries to help but fails. So Dawkins then dives over the top rope on the Jimmy. So that was pretty cool. And then we go to an ad break. So it was Dawkins that got to do the big dive this time instead of Montez. When we come back from the break, Jay is in complete control over Riddle now, and the Bloodline is throwing up the ones. The pace in this match is super slow. So Riddle is in the Bloodline corner, isolated. Quick tags and stomps now by the Usos, and then Roman Reigns tags in for the first time. Roman goes on the attack, hitting big strikes on Riddle, about 15 in a row, to be honest. The crowd's booing and taunting while Roman taunts the Street Profits here. And Riddle kicks out of a vertical suplex, but Roman tags in Jay, and the pace is still super slow, dreadfully slow. And Riddle dodges a corner splash now and tags in Montez. Jay dodges a top rope attack here, but Montez lands on his feet and punches Jimmy and Roman over on the apron. Then Montez quickens the pace here, much needed quickening the pace, and hits a great looking flurry of moves on Jay. So then Roman has a blind tag, surprises Montez from behind with a Uranagi slam. So quick tags now isolate Montez in the Bloodline corner. And I don't know when it happened, but it looks like Montez broke his nose. The red stuff is pouring out all over his face. So that's unfortunate with a big SummerSlam title match coming up in 5 days. Maybe we'll have to see Montez in one of those damn face masks. So anyway, the Usos hit a double team for a 2 count, and Montez is in big trouble as we go to the last commercial break. About 10 minutes left in Raw when the commercial break starts. So I'm wondering, why didn't Riddle and Rollins get to talk tonight? Like, why did we have to build up Miz versus Logan Paul more than Riddle versus Rollins, which is way more important in the grand scheme of things? And what are they even fighting about anymore? Like, all I remember is that they feuded over the Money in the Bank, and Riddle said something to the effect of wanting to fight Rollins in honor of Cody, but we really haven't had much interaction or story or anything to any accoutrements to this match whatsoever. But like I said, Riddle versus Rollins probably doesn't need a build, so I guess that's why they didn't do it. if I had to come up with an answer. So anyway, when we come back, Montez has had his face cleaned a little bit, but he's still getting dominated in the ring, which means the doctor came over and wiped his face, but he still couldn't tag out. So that's a little weird. But anyway, Montez is getting dominated, but Dawkins distracts Roman long enough for Montez to tag out. So Riddle's in now, and so is Jimmy. Riddle goes for hits a go behind for a ripcord knee strike that looked really good. Then an exploder suplex on Jimmy, who had ran in, and then a Superman punch on Jay in the corner. So Riddle then tries for the draping DDT, but the Usos both stop it. So Riddle just hits his floating bro onto both Usos on the outside. That looked great. Roman tags in now, hits a Superman punch to Riddle, but Montez Ford is in to break the pin. Then dives to the outside on Jay, does Montez. Jimmy dives to the outside on the Montez, and then out of nowhere, Dawkins tackles both Usos to the announce table. So Roman then attacks Dawkins, sending him into the steps hard, and Roman gets caught with a draping DDT by Riddle on his way back into the ring. But Roman overpowers and blocks completely the RKO attempt and just simply spears Riddle for the 1-2-3. The winners of this match by pinfall are the Bloodline, and the crowd boos this big time. So all of a sudden, of course, Rollins music hits and it interrupts the Bloodline celebration. We get a nice little stare down here between Roman and Seth, but Roman just lets Seth pass by. So Rollins is in a glittery black suit, really cool looking suit tonight, and he hits Riddle into the steps, or he hits him with the steps, I should say. Rollins had the steps in his hands, so the crowd is humming Rollins' theme song while he stomps Riddle on the outside. That's pretty funny. And then Rollins sets up Riddle on the steps and then hits the big stomp onto the steps. So Riddle is in bad shape as Raw ends, and it's only 5 days until the big match at SummerSlam. Also, Montez might have a broken nose on top of it. So the Street Profits and Riddle got the worst of this one, and the Bloodline are looking strong going into their big title matches, potentially 2 title matches for Roman, if indeed Theory cashes in. And if Roman wins the first one. So anyway, overall, I'd say an average show, just an average show, not even really above average. And like I've been saying at the right at the beginning here of the Triple H regime, we're not going to see the changes overnight. We're not going to get a mass firing and a mass hiring, and it's not going to be. We're probably not going to tune in the NXT tomorrow, and it'll probably still be NXT 2.0. It won't be back to the black and gold. So things aren't going to change overnight, but like I said, let's take stock as we go. We'll keep noticing things as we go on a weekly and daily basis, since I cover WWE almost on a daily basis. So we're not going to see the changes right away, but we should see them over time. We'll take stock when we get to like Survivor Series, and then again when we get the Royal Rumble. By Royal Rumble, and especially after we see the Royal Rumble match, we should get a pretty good idea of what kind of changes, where WWE is going to go from here, because right now we're just kind of stuck in this ever-ending loop of Roman Reigns is the man, and only Brock Lesnar and Goldberg have any chance to beat him. So we need to get out of that rut. Hopefully Roman Reigns loses the title and goes away for a while. There's really no story left to tell with Roman once he loses the title. Sure, he can try and win it back, and sure, he could. There's still a story to tell with like the Usos maybe turning face and turning on Roman. Then maybe we can get a legitimate main event Jey Uso. You could bring Solo. I'm pretty sure the Bloodline's going to bring in Solo Sikoa, the youngest Uso brother, who's in the NXT right now. So there is going to be some freshening up of the Bloodline going forward. So, but I still believe that once Roman loses the title, he could probably leave for an entire year and not really truly be missed, because there's not a lot left in the storyline for Roman Reigns. He's kind of done it all. So a year away, maybe getting a little more exposure for himself in Hollywood and stuff like that. Maybe if that doesn't work out, he comes back and wrestles for another 5 years or so, maybe retires. Even if it doesn't work out, we don't know. But things are going to change. We're kind of in the Roman Reigns era, but we're at the tail end of the Roman Reigns era. So what's the new era? Is there going to be another guy, another Superman to follow in John Cena and Roman Reigns' footsteps, where he's going to be the man for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years? Or is it going to be a more of a revolving door of 3, 4, 5, 6 major guys that could all trade the title between the 6 of them? And no matter who's the champion, they always have 5 really good at contenders to fight against at pay-per-views, and then you've got another 10 to 15 guys just below them to bring in for feuds and whatnot throughout. So that's how wrestling should be. It shouldn't all be one guy. I get that even back in the day, there was even longer title reigns than what Roman has. Like, we're talking 8-9 year title reigns. But I think now with the whole TV and the weekly basis, you're seeing these guys every week. A year is pretty much as long as the title should be held. After a year's point in time, I think it's time to like move on to the next thing. But more important than just who's champion is just we want to watch better wrestling. We want more wrestling. We want longer matches. There was no reason to make this main event 6-man tag as long as it was. Why didn't Rey Mysterio in his celebration night get a longer match? I understand they got multiple segments throughout the night, but the actual Rey Mysterio match should have been longer. And there was at least another match that I thought really would have benefited with some more time. I really liked that beginning match, though, the one that started with Drew McIntyre versus Theory and turned into Lashley and McIntyre versus Theory and Sheamus. That was probably my favorite match of the night, to be honest. And I did like that we're finally doing something with Alexa Bliss, or at least it seems that way. And I'm trying to think. Other than the Rey Mysterio match, there was definitely one more I thought could have been longer. I think the Lashley one was just the perfect round in length. So was the Alexa Bliss match. The crowd was not into that whatsoever. They haven't built up Dewdrop enough for the crowd to ever react to. And Alexa's kind of this boring baby face character that the crowd really doesn't get behind that much. But I don't know why I can't find that other match that I thought should have been long. Oh, it was AJ Styles and Dolph versus the Alpha Academy. AJ Styles and Dolph were great fun to watch in the ring, but why couldn't we watch them for another 8 minutes? Why couldn't we watch Rey Mysterio for another 5 minutes? Why did we need the whole half hour for the Raw to be about that 6-man main event? You could have got everything you want. Remember how slow and boring that 6-man main event was? You cut 10 minutes, 13 minutes off that even, and add time to the other matches on the card. You don't even have to like come up with a whole new match or a whole new backstage segment. You could just add length to what you've already been doing. So I don't understand that at all. I think part of it has to do with how people watch. Not as many people watch the actual whole television show. It's mostly like people go and watch the clips on YouTube. So the more clips you can have, the more chances people are going to watch clips. So if it's just one long match or like 4 long matches on a 3-hour Raw with all like, then you don't get as many clips out of it as if you have a bunch of smaller, shorter matches and shorter segments. And if you're watching the whole show, it just seems like a bunch of things that don't mean anything. But when you're trying to get people to click on the YouTube links to watch the videos, it looks like you had like 10 different things and they were all interesting. So I get that part, but I don't understand why they do some of the things they do. So hopefully that stuff changes in the future. It'll be a wait and see process. I'll be back tomorrow for the NXT 2.0 review. We'll find out if what's going on with the tag team titles for the women's division. Maybe we'll finally get to see the WWE tag team titles in the women's division soon as well. But if the NXT tag team titles, women's titles disappear as well, then that I would be more fearful, but Triple H has shown that he likes women's wrestling. So if Triple H is in charge, we should be getting more respect for the women's division. Maybe bring the tag titles back. Maybe even get Sasha Banks and Naomi back. So we don't know what to expect going forward. There's a lot of question marks. A lot of it is an exciting time. We get to see we see the light at the end of the tunnel of the terrible Raw and SmackDowns year after year. So the light is there. We can see it. We're not quite there. We don't know how long it's going to take to get into the light, but it's there. We weren't even seeing the light before last Friday, and now especially with today's announcement is Triple H in charge of creative. So we're just going to have to keep our ear to the ground and keep watching the show to see what we can see that might have changes. Oh, that's weird. Like I said, tonight we mentioned Macho Man Randy Savage on TV, something we haven't done in a long time in WWE. And like on Friday, Michael Cole called the people in the crowd fans. So small things here and there that are going to start changing for the better. Probably we might actually get to hear the word wrestling on a wrestling TV show, heaven forbid. So I'm going to get going. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for NXT 2.0 and have a good one until then. Peace.